is Siti Kasim. I'm not representing any organization but myself. I just have a few comments to make. You see, when I came here, I read at the title of this forum is Faith and Justice. Is it a conflict or convergence? But after hearing the panels, I'm sorry to say, I'm not very clear where the panels stand. Are you saying is faith actually in conflict? Faith and justice in conflict, they don't work together? Or are they converging beautifully together? I don't get that, to be honest. The closest I can hear a little bit of it, even then I have to kind of read into it a lot, is from the Reverend. I think he was saying that in order to be, from my understanding what the Reverend is saying, that in order for faith to be equal with justice, we have to look at the religion first, properly. You see, this title says faith and justice. Is it in conflict or convergence? For me, it doesn't work together. It doesn't converge together. Faith and justice is not even in conflict even. Okay, they are not in conflict, nor are they in convergence. That's how I see it. They don't just work together, because maybe they can if you have a perfect interpretation of all of your religions. You see, the problem now is that not all religions have the same view. In one religion they have a different view. So there is a massive problem in order to get everybody to agree on one point. Okay, and so therefore I don't see faith and justice work together. Through my own experience working as a lawyer, decisions which are affecting, meaning there's a relation to religion, the judges will take a viewpoint, they will be highly influenced by their religious background. Okay, I mean that is very clear. All lawyers are fully aware of that. And we cannot get justice because they are so influenced by their faith. They will read into, these things, according to what they believe, not according to justice. So this is the problem. So I don't see faith and justice actually converge. Don't talk about converge. They can't work together unless and until the mentality of the people are changed. I find that really hard, because we are all individual human beings. There's no way you can actually tell people to be like this and like that. So therefore it's better not to mix faith and justice. Faith is faith. You can have your own faith. I don't care whether you want to believe in paganism or Christianity or Islam, but don't interfere with justice, because it never works. Okay, I mean we can see it's everywhere in the world. It's like that. So since and I feel the panel is not balanced, because I believe everybody is for faith, and I think you should actually bring someone, maybe an atheist or somebody, as a panel, because everybody is for faith, so it's not balanced, I see. And the one question to Surendran, I know you are a human rights lawyer and everything. I really applaud your work, and I know you But the thing is, my problem, Surendran, is that your aim is very noble in what you're saying, and I agree with you. I will vote for you for what you're saying just now. But there is a problem with your own coalition within the party itself. Okay, I must face that, because until and unless you resolve this matter, with your other coalition members, it's going to be a problem, because this is talking on my own experience. I have a problem voting the opposition because of that. I don't need to mention it, but I have a major problem because of that. And again, where does Linus come into this? Faith and justice? I don't know. I mean, really, that's how I feel anyway. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Nico?
Hello everyone, good afternoon to everyone here. I'm Nicole, I'm a sixth form student. First of all, I'd just like to highlight that it's a very patriarchal panelist instead, because there's no women views at all from this panel. So congratulations to that. I personally would like to highlight two things, and I have two questions. It's beautiful to see how we criticize Marx for his ideals for what he stands, his views on certain aspects. It's beautiful that we can criticize him, we can take the good, we can put the bad, and there's rooms for criticism, absolute rooms for criticism. But it's a sad part that faith and religion has created. It's not created, it's been, the perspective it's given today to the world, it's very immune to criticism. It's immune. Why don't we criticize Muhammad sitting here? Why don't we criticize Jesus Christ? Why don't we criticize God itself? Why is it an absolute... It has created absolutism in nature. And to me, this is not justice. Because as a critical-minded person, as an independent person, I deserve to criticize, to stand, and to talk about what I believe. Why do I say that people do not criticize religion? Because they have been created in a constraint where there's hereafter, there's hell and heaven. So if you go beyond that work, that constraint of that box, there's hell and heaven, and there's hereafter. So you have to face what it means. So many people do not criticize this. So that goes back to what Surendran said. I don't think it has pushed people to its ultimate force to go beyond what they can do. It has put men into a box where this one ideology dictates them. It dictates the way they think, and it dictates the way how they live their life and how they have to practice their daily life. It's amazing to see Ahmad Fuad saying about resource. It's a resource to life. But sadly, it's the only resource for many people. I believe in a world where we live today, there should be many resources for us to pick and take. And this resource should not create our identity. Because you went on to say, I'm Muslim, but lackingly no one said, I'm human, and I represent the human form, the human race today. That's what I would like to see. And that's where it goes to my perspective. It has not brought men together. Rather, religion and faith, which creates an identity, it has drawn a line where it says we and you. I believe that, I truly believe what Mr. CKD says in reform. I truly believe, so to go back to the present, Mr. Ahmad Fuad, do you believe that the faith that you practice today needs a reform and a renaissance of itself? So this to Mr. Reverend, do you think your religion deserves reform, a renaissance, and it deserves to be molded and criticized? Even Jesus and all the prophets themselves, do they deserve to be criticized like how we criticized Marcus just now? Thank you so much.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you, fellow panelists. Muhammad Anas Daniel. Firstly, I am very impressed with the presentations given today by all of you, where we basically talked, it focuses on the interaction between religion and society. A little bit to digress from what I wanted to ask, it's just like the brother just now mentioned that we see that people are trying to make a point that religion cannot be criticized, for instance. But what we do see in reality is religion is being criticized. And that covers all religions all over the world. Not just Islam, we have Christianity being criticized, Hinduism, and so forth. So there is this critique taking place within the society, as if there are people who believe that there is no such criticism, or such criticism is not being committed. What is happening is there is criticism and it is happening. Okay. Now to the question which I have, because of this interaction, because of these criticisms which is taking place, as a professor, not really professor, as someone who professes religion and strongly believes in religion, the question is, what is now sacred and what is not sacred in religion nowadays? Because of these conflicts and what we try to find convergences within our discourses. And due to this situation, when we can see, or perhaps when we say that we have creating sects, that there are sacred aspects of religion and there are not so sacred aspects of religion, that means it is bound to further discourses where perhaps what is sacred right now will not be considered sacred later. Now what does this put religion at then? Is it a reduction of the value of religion itself, or perhaps you have another opinion regarding this matter? Thank you very much.
Thank Thank you. So the first response to the first questioner on whether there's conflict or convergence where she doesn't see the coming together, and then which one among our panelists would like to address it?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, Siti Kasim, for wanting to vote for me, because this time we need every single vote. But speaking about coalitions, yeah, I mean, let's be very frank about it. Coalition politics, there's a lot of compromise and balancing involved, because when you talk about coalitions, by nature, each party has got their own views. Now the point about coalition politics is that once you've come together, you must be frank, you must have a clear manifesto. Once you've come together, you must have a clear manifesto, you must put across to the people sabotage. You must have a clear platform put across to the people, and that must be honest and frank. Don't mislead the people. Conflicts there will be within the coalition, but as long as you put it across to people, this is what you stand for, and none of the parties making up the coalition are going to back off, then I think that is fine. But this is the nature of coalition politics. Now the other thing is this, you also mentioned that this was a panel that was all for faith and there wasn't an opposing view. Well, to be very frank, I have to admit that I'm not terribly religious. Religion does not play a great part in my life. What is important for me, and why when I spoke about the importance of keeping to those principles that the faith speak about, is that I'm talking about the values that these religions, that faith talks about. For example, mercy, compassion, loving your fellow man. I'm all for that. Okay, even though it comes from the faith, it comes from religions, but those ideas are universal. So an atheist could believe in that and consistent with that idea: mercy, compassion, loving your fellow man, goodness, etc., etc. Those sorts of things. A person who follows the religion of humanity, a person who just believes in living a good, decent life, helping his fellow man, spending his life that way. All this is consistent with what the major faiths talk about. So in that sense, I think when I spoke just now, it was in that context that I spoke. Maybe I'll leave it to the other panels to answer the questions.
Yeah, just a very quick response to that. I think when I understand, and maybe it helps us then to see the two realms that we're talking about. When we're talking about faith, and I think we can say it's a conviction held, it's a belief, it's an assertion we make, and that faith can be based on a transcendent understanding, or it could be a humanistic understanding. Yeah, a person who holds a faith has a conviction, and I think that is the thing that we need to keep in mind. So when it comes to faith, especially for organized religions, which draws heavily on a transcendent reality, then there can be many truth claims. God is compassionate, God is just, God is kind, God takes care of everybody, and so on and so forth. These are assertions and beliefs we make, drawing upon an experience of revelation as contained in the scriptures that we read. Justice, on the other hand, is in the human realm. and it is something that is to be done, a responsibility bestowed upon us to bring that conviction into concretization in human reality. In the Christian tradition, we draw upon the prophetic tradition, because the prophets were those who showed the contradictions of what the religious people prayed in their day and time and the social realities on the ground. So we have a very beautiful saying in the prophet Isaiah, where he says, God despises your worship and cannot stand all your singing of praise. That's a terrible thing to tell the religious authorities of his day. And why is that? Because you oppress the poor, and people are exploited in the land, and it has nothing to do with the things you claim about the sovereignty and love of God. So that is, I think, the point we have to bear in mind. I think if there's convergence, it is when we live out and live for that conviction that we have, that because we believe God is love, that we must exercise love that goes beyond the boundaries of our own religious faith and touches all humanity.
Okay, Puan Siti Kasim, I understand you, what you're saying, because it's true. See, when a person is able to connect with the revelation of God, let's say Islam or Hinduism or Buddhism, the spirit of faith is born. But the problem with many of us, this is my personal experience, is that when we discover it, we are happy what we have. That's all, because we don't go beyond that. Oh, this is good enough. That's it. But little do we realize that child of faith has got to grow. It has to be nurtured, and it can be watered. And by daily understanding it, reflecting, and applying those teachings, your faith grows. Now, you are talking about a mission context whereby this question of faith and justice, whether it's convergent or conflict, I can, from my reading of the society, it is in conflict. For simple reason is this, that as an individual, we have got a fragmented thinking in our mind. I suppose it's because of the way we are brought up, or our education system, that there's so much of dichotomy within ourselves. And as a result of that, we find that, hey, it is not. Like what Brother Sudrin said, that no, that person is a man of faith. The moment he steps into the realm of politics, he turns into something else. So, again, you see that there's a duality, and it's not right, it's not consistent, it's not authentic. We know that justice in the social realm, it's the principle of justice has been long there. It's a universal law, just as much as we've got a physical law that governs the universe and governs the planet. There are spiritual laws that governs society, that's the individual person. Justice expressed in society. You have to have justice in order for society to prosper and flourish and develop, again with other qualities involved. But when you put as individual in that person, these are the qualities of the Creator, the attributes, the names, and what Brother Ford was mentioning about, say that nature is the signs and names and attributes of God are in that. But within man itself, all the attributes and signs are within man. And it's through education alone can bring us these beautiful gem-like qualities for the purpose of what the Christian would say, that the paradise to be on this earth. We have to create that kind of society where we can live together as one.